Hey guys, it's your favorite fighter, the infamous Spider, Mario Aguilar, aka the Ronin Downriver. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm a pro MMA fighter out of Michigan. I train out of Scorpion Fighting Systems in Brighton, Michigan. That's out of the Michigan Institute of Athletics, and I'm a beginning practitioner in Iaido. I've only been doing it for about 3 months now, so I can't really say I'm an expert in anything. I'm just really interested in it. I've been interested in Japanese culture and history my entire life. It's actually one of my dreams to go there and actually get to experience the culture firsthand. So it's also my dream to fight in Ryzen FC out there in Japan. It's okay. So I'm also a big fan of anime, so you might hear a lot of references or jokes along those lines in my content. Please forgive me for being a bit of a nerd, but I mean, it is what it is. Anyway, that's enough about me, so we're going to get into this review. I try to do as much research as possible so I don't sound like an idiot going over these things. So forgive me if I pronounce anything wrong, or forgive me if I'm off anything. Please feel free to correct me in the comments. Okay, so this is the Jiphen AHK Knight Katana from Jiphen Swords, and I got this for about 90 bucks on Amazon. Okay, so we're going to start from one end of the sword and go down to the other. So we're going to start down here at the kashira, or the end cap. So traditionally, from what I've read, these things are usually forged. Hammers and chisels are involved. What they do is they put a lot of ornate decoration in it and whatnot. This looks pretty cheap. It's like an alloy covered in paint, and as you can see right here, it's already starting to chip away a bit. I've actually put a lot of use into this sword. If you watched any of my videos from previous, like a lot of the work is done with this sword. A lot of the forms, a lot of the katas. I've even done a bit of cut testing with this sword, so it's got its use in. Like I said, it's made of a kind of a cheap alloy, same as the Fuchi down here. It kind of seems as it's made of like a cheap aluminum, maybe. I mean, it's holding together pretty well. I don't see it coming loose. This hasn't come loose or anything like that, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Moving on, if we're looking from the kashira to the ito, usually what you want to see is everything kind of lining up pretty uniform. It came like that out the box. I will admit that, like, everything seemed pretty tight, but after a lot of use, you can see it's kind of starting to loosen up a bit. Like, this knot's starting to come undone a bit. You don't usually like to see that, so I'm probably gonna have to retie this at some point. Also, when you're looking at it this way, you don't really want to see the knots bulging on the sides, and you can see these are starting to come undone. So that's something. But I mean, it has put its use in. But I have heard that the more use you put into it, the oils in from your hand, it's supposed to actually make this thing tighter. So that's, I don't know. Moving on, we're looking at the shape of the diamonds. Everything's supposed to be uniform coming in, and as you can see, it looks pretty good coming out the box and everything. I mean, when it came out the box, everything was lined up nicely. After all the use, you can see it shifted around just a bit. You can kind of see a little bit of the wood showing, like in between. I don't know if you can see that. But you're actually not supposed to see that at all. That's another thing too, is the ray skin underneath. Moving on to the next thing, actually, it looks pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Everything feels good, but you can tell that it's not actual real ray skin. And if you move on to the the Manuki, they're fake. Which, I mean, it's a $90 katana. I'm not really like looking for top of the line anything. It serves its purpose. I mean, like, as far as like practicing with it and everything, it's done well. But if you're going into like traditional katana sense, or if you're a katana snob, you're not really gonna like that. Moving on to the Suba, or the guard. It's basically a flat piece of alloy. You can see little cutouts in it. It looks pretty good, but I've seen more ornate ones. I don't know, for what I use it for, I like it. But I mean, it is what it is. It's covered in a black lacquer, so I mean, you got that. So there's two bamboo mikugi pegs holding it together, and they do come out, but it can't be taken apart. I looked on the website, and actually in the description it shows that they are full tang, but there's also an extra piece welded onto the back with a bolt welded on. So there's no taking this sword apart. So yeah, that's out the picture. Okay, moving on to the habaki. That's the piece right before the blade. It looks like it's brass. It looks pretty good. If you're looking on the back of it, where the mune is, it's supposed to like be a little bit overlapping, so the mune or the spine of the blade isn't touching the scabbard. You can see it's just like slightly there. Not enough to my liking, but I mean it's okay, I guess. You know. Looking at how the habaki fits into the scabbard, well, as far as drawing it, it feels really good. I won't even lie to you. After all the use, I can still hold this thing upside down and it won't fall out. If I were to shake it, of course, it'd probably fall. Oh, actually, no, it's doing pretty well. Oh, there you go. It's holding tension pretty good. I will say that after a lot of use, you can see there's a little bit of wear on it, and we'll get more into that in a second, but it's pretty good. So, all right, moving on to the scabbard. You got your glossy black lacquer, wooden scabbard. Looks pretty good. I mean, works for me. Checking out the Koiguchi, you can see it's just wood. Usually on higher level katana, you might see horn or metal there or something like that to protect your hand. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a little nervous about that as I'm training with this, but so far so good. We're going to keep it going, you know? Same with the kojiri at the end. You can see it's just wood. Nothing special. And usually, I mean, no one would be using their sword for a cane or anything like that, but if you were to set it down, it's kind of important to be there to protect the scabbard itself just from bumping things or like getting moisture in the scabbard and rusting the sword or anything like that. So like, I don't know, that's something that they could have added in. Even if it was plastic, you know, I would have appreciated that a little bit more. But I mean, it is what it is. By the way, guys, if I sound like I'm dogging this sword, I'm not. Keep in mind, this is a $90 katana, so for what you're paying for, you're actually getting a lot. Okay, so moving on to the kurigata, that's the little nub on the side where the sageo goes through. It's wood, lacquered wood. Now on higher end katanas, usually that might be horn or something else, a little bit more higher quality, but again, $90 katana, not bad, it's holding up really well. The shitodomi, actually, these are the metal little fitting pieces on the inside. They're very loose. Now, usually they're pressure fit in, they're not glued in, but like these are only held in by the tightness of the sageo right now. Like if I were to take this thing off, these things would fall out very easily. So that's something I'm not really liking, but I mean, again, it is what it is. You get what you pay for, you know? With that, let's move on to the sageo itself. Now, when it comes out the box, the sageo is tied up, but I untied it for use. It's pretty decent quality, actually. It's holding up really well. It's not fraying or anything, so I like it. Okay, with all that, we can finally move on to the blade. Now, honestly, I feel like this is where all of the effort and the money went into it. Now, I know it sounds like I was dogging this katana before, but like that was just all the fittings and accessories. As far as the blade goes, I'm actually pretty impressed with it. It's advertised at 9260 spring steel. It does look forged. As far as looking at the blade, the hamon is visible, even though I'm pretty sure that might be a grinded on hamon. But I mean, it is what it is. It came out the box pretty sharp. I was able to slice the box in half, and you can see in some of the cut testing, it's pretty good and is able to hold the edge very well. The hata is visible, the folding pattern. As far as the kiseki, it's a 2-inch kiseki. There is a bohi, or a blood groove, which I like because it makes the swings more audible. You can actually hear what you're doing, if you're doing it correctly or not. So that's a pretty good thing right there. As far as the coating or the black paint or oxidation or ever whatever you want to call on the outside of the blade, this is a black blade. It's holding up really well. I don't have any scratches in it. It's looking pretty good. As far as use, the weight is 2.5 pounds. The handle length is a little over 10 inches. Blade length about 28 inches. So it's a fairly nice size sword. You know, the balance, it's a little front heavy, which I like because it makes cutting a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, you can see for yourself. I feel very comfortable with it. As far as its overall use, it holds up really well when it came to cut testing. I don't have any damage in my edge at all. As far as overall feel of this sword, I mean, it feels really good. I won't even lie to you. When I first picked it up, but I won't even lie, I don't have that much experience when it comes to other swords. I'm basically in study. My overall impression of this sword is, for me as a beginner who's just looking to practice and just looking to learn my forms and get my movements in and learn more about this, it's perfect for me as far as what I'm using it for. Now, I would like to acquire more swords. I would like to acquire a more expensive katana to further some of these review videos and whatnot. I'm not in a place to do that right now, but hopefully soon I will be. One sword I do have my eye on, it actually is with a RVA katana. It's the Redeeming Light. They're out of stock right now, but I know they'll probably be restocking it in April, so hopefully by then I'll be able to acquire the funds to pick one up, so we'll see. But as far as that goes, I'm still open-minded to a lot of things. Yep, so that's my roundabout review of this sword. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments, and if you'd like me to do more of these reviews, please just let me know. Until then, please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time.